The knife sliced through the air before it hit the wall, embedding itself in the faded wallpaper of our family kitchen like a declaration of war. "You're dead to us, Finn." Dad's voice cracked like thunder over the cornfields outside. His face twisted in that red-faced rage I'd seen only at losing games. Mom just stood there, tears carving rivers down her cheeks, whispering my name like a prayer she wished she'd never uttered, while my little brother Jake buried his face in his hands. The football we'd tossed just hours ago now forgotten on the linoleum floor. I was 17, fresh off coming out in the locker room haze of sweat and teenage bravado, thinking the world might bend a little for honesty. But in Harlan, Iowa, where the silos stand taller than God and secrets fester like untreated wounds, truth was a luxury we couldn't afford. That night, they packed my duffel with yesterday's clothes and shoved me toward the gravel driveway, the screen door slamming shut behind me like the final period on a death sentence. No goodbye from Sarah, my big sister, who couldn't even meet my eyes. Just the hum of cicadas and the distant rumble of a freight train carrying dreams I'd never chase with them. I hitchhiked west, thumb out under sodium vapor lights, landing in Des Moines with nothing but a backpack and a scholarship pamphlet crumpled in my fist. Football had been my escape, my ticket out, the way I dodged tackles and dreamed of gridirons under Friday night floods. But now, it was all I had left. I crashed on couches, washed dishes at diners that smelled of grease and regret, and enrolled in community college on a work-study grind. Nights blurred into practices on cracked fields, my cleats pounding out the rhythm of what-ifs. What if I'd lied? What if love wasn't the enemy? That's when Harrison crashed into my life like a blindside hit you never see coming. It was sophomore year at Iowa State, tryouts for the Cyclones freshman squad. I was running drills, lungs burning, when this broad-shouldered guy with sun-bleached hair and a grin that could disarm a linebacker intercepted my pass. Literally and figuratively. "Nice arm, farm boy," he drawled, tossing the ball back with a wink that lingered too long. His eyes the color of Lake Okoboji in summer. Harrison Har Whitaker, transfer from some podunk school in Nebraska, majoring in agribusiness but playing like he was born for the spotlight. We clicked on the field, him the steady fullback to my quarterback chaos. Off it was tentative. Shared Gatorades after dark, shoulders brushing in the weight room, stories swapped over cheap beers at dive bars where the jukebox played Springsteen on loop. He knew about Harlan. I'd spilled it one rain-soaked night on the dorm steps, expecting pity. Instead, he just nodded, his hand finding mine under the cover of shadows. "Family's what you build, Finn, not what you're born into." His first kiss tasted like salt and possibility. Under the stadium lights after a scrimmage win, the crowd's roar fading into our own private thunder. But love in the heartland is a fragile thing, stitched with don't ask, don't tell threads. We kept it quiet. Har's folks were old money ranchers who prayed before meals and preached self-reliance. Mine had erased my number from their phones. Still, those years were golden. Road trips down Route 35, tailgates with the team where we'd steal glances, his laugh cutting through the chaos like a Hail Mary. He pushed me harder on the field, whispering strategies in my ear during huddles, his breath warm against my neck. "You've got the fire, Finn. Don't let 'em snuff it." And God, I burned for him. Not just the heat of stolen moments in motel rooms off I-80, but the kind that reshapes you, makes you believe in redemption. By junior year, scouts were circling. I was all Big 12, Har my rock, the guy who dragged me to the rec center at dawn for extra reps when doubt crept in. We'd talk futures, him eyeing NFL Europe, me dreaming of coaching kids who looked like the boy I'd been, scared and swinging for fences. But shadows loomed. A letter arrived from home, Sarah's handwriting, tentative. "Jake's senior year," she wrote. "He's good, real good. Starting QB for Harlan Hawks. Dad's coaching him now, pushing like he never did for you." The word stung, a hook in old scars. I crumpled it, but Har smoothed it out later, his fingers tracing the creases. "They're ghosts, babe. Leching fage." I tried. God, I tried. But when Jake's highlights hit ESPN's recruiting rundown, that familiar stance, the whip-snap throw, I felt the pull. Blood's thicker than denial, they say, even when it's poisoned. Har saw it eating me the way I'd zone out during film sessions, replaying family Christmases that ended in silence. Write him, he urged one night, tangled in sheets that smelled of him. Not them, him. Tell your brother you're proud. So I did. A card slipped into an anonymous care package. Cleats I'd outgrown, a signed playbook, words scrawled on the back. Throw like the wind, kid. You've got this. No reply, but Jake committed to Iowa State that fall, full ride. Same turf I'd bled on. Fate's cruel joke, or maybe a chance. Har and I were seniors now, captains, the dream team. We'd sneak away to the bluffs overlooking Ames, bottles of bourbon warming our palms as we plotted post-grad life. A cabin in the Black Hills, dogs and draft picks, a world where we didn't hide. Marry me? He'd joke, half serious, his thumb rubbing circles on my knee. I'd laugh it off, heart swelling, because in those moments, I almost believed we could outrun the Midwest's long shadow. Then the call came, shattering it all. Dad's voice on the line, clipped, official, like he was calling a play. Finn, it's about Jake. Car accident on the way back from a game. Black ice on 30. Broken leg. Season over, scholarship yanked. The words blurred, my world tilting. Har found me on the bathroom floor. Phone clutched like a lifeline. He's alive, I choked out. But the ride, it's gone. Dad didn't ask for help. He never would. Pride was his armor, thicker than any playbook. But as I hung up, staring at the wall where that kitchen knife had once quivered, something snapped. Erasure cuts both ways. If they could vanish me, I could rewrite the ending. I didn't tell Har at first. Couldn't. Instead, I cashed in favors, alumni donors I'd charmed at banquets, boosters who'd eyed my stats like gold. By spring, I'd funneled it into the Finn Harlan Memorial Scholarship. Full ride for Harlan High athletes, no questions asked. Jake's name topped the list, his accident the perfect sob story for the press. I signed the papers in secret, heart pounding, imagining Dad's face when the envelope arrived. Gold embossed, my name etched in the fine print as benefactor. Graduation hit like a freight train. Har and I walked the stage, caps tossed under confetti rain, his hand brushing mine in the crush. That night, at the team luau by the lake, fire pits crackling, beers chilling in coolers. We danced on the fringes, bodies close under the stars. To us, he toasted, clinking bottles, his eyes promising forever. But as dawn broke, my phone buzzed. Sarah, Jake got it. The scholarship. They're losing their minds. Dad thinks it's a miracle. Mom's crying. But they saw your name. I drove home that week, Har in the passenger seat, his silence heavy as the miles ticked by. Harlan hadn't changed. Same rusted water tower, same fields whispering secrets to the wind. The family ranch loomed at the cul-de-sac's end, porch light flickering like a hesitant welcome. I killed the engine, knuckles white on the wheel. You sure about this? Har asked, his hand on my thigh, steady as ever. I nodded, throat tight. They erased me. Now they see what I built without them. The door opened before I knocked. Mom first, apron dusted with flour, her eyes widening like saucers. Finn. It was a whisper, a ghost of the boy she'd banished. Dad behind her, arms crossed, that coach's scowl cracking at the edges. Jake on crutches in the hall, taller now, his face a mirror of mine. Same jaw, same fire. Sarah hovered, biting her lip, the sister who'd chosen silence. We stood there, the air thick with unsaid accusations, until Dad cleared his throat. Heard about the scholarship. Fancy thing, naming it after yourself. His voice was gravel, probing for weakness. I met his gaze unflinching. Not after. For kids like Jake. Like I was. Mom's hand fluttered to her mouth, tears spilling anew. Jake shifted, crutches creaking. Thanks, bro, I didn't know. Har hung back by the truck, giving me space, but his presence anchored me. We filed into the living room. Same sagging couch, same cross-stitched home sweet home over the mantel. Awkward coffee poured, steam rising like fragile bridges. Dad grilled me on the NFL scouts, Mom on my life out there, skirting the edges of what they really meant. And Har? He stepped in smooth as a handoff, charming them with farm boy tales, his laugh easing the knots. But under the table, his foot nudged mine. A secret Morse code. You're enough. The betrayal hit like a sack from behind, though. Midway through pie, apple, Mom's recipe, tart as regret. Dad leaned forward, eyes narrowing. This scholarship is generous, son. But why now? Guilt? Or you think it buys forgiveness? The room froze, forks clinking to a halt. Sarah gasped, Jake's face paling. I felt Har tense beside me, his hand finding my knee under the tablecloth. No, I said, voice steady despite the storm inside. It's not about you. It's about not letting hate win. You erased me for who I love. I glanced at Har, his nod imperceptible but ironclad. But I built something anyway. For Jake. For every kid you push too hard or push away. Mom sobbed then, reaching across the table, her fingers brushing mine like a lifeline. We were scared, Finn. Church, the town. We thought we'd lose you to it all. Dad's jaw worked, silent war raging behind his eyes. Betrayal? Yeah, it stung, their fear weaponized into abandonment. But in Jake's grateful grin, Sarah's tentative hug, I saw cracks in the wall they'd built. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a door ajar. We stayed through the weekend, the ranch unfolding like a half-remembered map. Mornings started with coffee on the porch swing, the kind that creaks under shared silences rather than screams. Har fit in easier than I expected. Chopping wood with Dad in the side yard, his axe swings precise, stories of Nebraska harvests drawing gruff laughs from the old man. Boy's got a good swing, Dad muttered to me later, wiping sweat from his brow, the closest he'd come to approval. I watched from the kitchen window, Mom beside me peeling potatoes, her knife rhythmic as a heartbeat. He's kind, she ventured, voice soft. Like you. Nights were ours, Har and me stealing away to the hayloft in the barn, the scent of alfalfa and earth wrapping around us like a blanket. We'd lie on our backs, staring at stars punching through the slats. His head on my chest as I traced the scars on his knuckles from old fights, literal and otherwise. This feels like a truce, he'd murmur, fingers interlacing with mine. But truces break easy. I knew he was right. The air hummed with unspoken fault lines. Jake's questions over dinner. You always know you were. You know? Hung heavy. His curiosity laced with the innocence I'd lost. I'd nod, keeping it light. Always kid. Just took time to say it loud. Sunday brought the storm, literal and not. Thunder rolled in from the west, gray clouds swallowing the horizon as we gathered for Jake's physical therapy session in the basement gym Dad had rigged, treadmills and free weights amid exposed beams. I spotted for Har as he worked out, our routine a quiet rebellion, while Jake hobbled through exercises, gritting teeth against pain. Dad coached from the sidelines, bark sharp, push, son, don't quit now. It echoed too much of my own drills, the pressure cooker that had forged me and broken others. Then the phone rang, Sarah's, shrill in the damp air. She answered in the kitchen above, her voice filtering down like smoke. What? No, that's impossible. Footsteps thundered, and she burst into the basement, face ashen, holding out the device like it burned. Fing. The paper. They ran a story on the scholarship, with a photo of you and Harrison at the ceremony. The world narrowed to that screen. A grainy shot from Ames, Har and me on stage, arms slung casual around shoulders, grins wide under the flashbulbs. Caption, out and proud. Finn Harlan funds future stars. Dad snatched the phone, scrolling, his face draining of color. Mom peered over, hand to her throat. Jake just stared, piecing it together. The us we'd shielded, now splashed across the Harlan Herald like a scarlet letter. Silence stretched, broken only by the patter of rain on the foundation vents. Dad's voice came low, dangerous. This what you're peddling now? Using our name, Jake's name, to flaunt. This? He jabbed at the photo, Har's arm around me frozen in accusation. Har stepped forward, calm as a quarterback reading a defense. Sir, with respect, it's not flaunting. It's living. Finn's giving back what he earned, no strings. But Dad rounded on me, eyes blazing. Earned? By turning your back on everything we taught? This town's gonna eat him alive. Same as it would of you. The betrayal landed like a gut punch. Not just the words, but the venom behind them, fresh as that kitchen night years ago. Mom whimpered, Tom, please. But he was a freight train, barreling. I thought this was redemption, a clean slate, but you're poisoning it, boy. Dragging Jake into your lifestyle. Jake flinched, crutches wobbling, his voice small. Dad, it's a scholarship, not a curse. I felt Har's hand on my back, grounding, but rage boiled up, hot and unbidden. Lifestyle? Is love, Dad. The kind you preached in your sermons, unconditional. But you couldn't stomach it in your own house. Thunder cracked overhead, lights flickering, casting shadows that danced like accusations. Sarah grabbed Dad's arm, pulling him toward the stairs. Enough. This is Jake's future, not a battlefield. He shrugged her off, storming up, the door slamming echoey above. We deflated then, the fight leaching out with the adrenaline. Mom fussed over Jake, wrapping his ankle tighter than needed, her eyes pleading with me. Fix this. Har pulled me aside, into the coal chute shadows.
Best. Finn.
They're scared of change, of losing control. But you're the win here. His lips brushed my temple, a promise amid the ruin. We emerged to find Jake waiting, eyes shiny. Is it true? You too. That's why they kicked you out. I nodded, throat tight. Yeah, but look at us now. Don't let fear call the plays, Jake. That night, rain lashed the windows as we sat around the harvest table. Pie crusts crumbling under forks no one touched. Dad didn't return until midnight, reeking of bourbon from the shed. His apology a grunted rough day as he passed my room. Mom slipped in later, sitting on the bed's edge, her hand tentative on mine. We failed you, Finn. Prayed for strength, got stupidity instead. Tears fell, hers and mine mingling. Har. He makes you happy. I whispered yes, and she hugged me fierce, the first in a decade. Then hold him, tighter than we held our fears. Monday dawned clear, skies washed blue, but the rift lingered. We drove Jake to his first post-scholarship meeting at the high school. Har behind the wheel, me shotgun, brother in back cracking jokes to cut the tension. The gym buzzed with coaches and kids, banners fluttering for the Hawks. Principal greeted us effusive. Finn Harlan, the prodigal son returns. Dad trailed, face a mask, but when Jake signed the papers, full ride secured, my name invoked without shame, something shifted. A nod from Dad, almost imperceptible. Good arm on the boy, he said to me, clapping Jake's shoulder. Like his brother. Back home, Har and I packed the truck under the old oak, leaves swirling like confetti. Sarah hugged us both, whispering to me, come back, for real. Jake limped out, envelope clutched. Thanks, Finn, for everything. His eyes held questions. About us, about coming out, but also pride, untainted. Dad hung at the porch rail, hands in pockets. Drive safe. No more, but it was enough. A crack, sunlight through. As we pulled away, Harlan shrinking in the rear view, Har squeezed my hand. You did it. Gave em the win, and took yours back. The road stretched west, toward Denver tryouts, toward us. Betrayal's sting faded, replaced by the hum of tires on blacktop. The promise of fields yet unplowed. Family wasn't erased. It was rewritten, one scholarship, one stolen glance at a time. But the real climax waited in the Rockies, where scouts and spotlights loomed. Har landed a camp invite first, Denver Broncos rookie showcase, his fullback grit catching eyes. Come with, he begged over crackly calls from Iowa, voice electric. Be my good luck. I hedged, my own agent pitching CFL deals up north, but heart pulled south. We rendezvoused in a Boulder motel, the kind with vibrating beds and neon vacancy signs, falling into each other like soldiers home from war. This is it? He gasped against my skin. Not carnal but soul deep. The kind of intimacy that binds tighter than vows. You and me, Finn. Against the world. Denver dazzled, mile-high air crisp. Stadiums gleaming under perpetual sun. Practices were brutal. Two-a-days in thin oxygen. Coaches barking plays like war cries. I roomed with Har, our twin beds pushed together. Mornings starting with coffee and kisses. Evenings with ice packs and dreams. But whispers followed. A reporter sniffing for the human interest angle. Teammates side-eyeing our closeness. You too. Tight. Huh. One lineman joked, too pointed. Har brushed it off, charm his shield. But I saw the flicker, old Nebraska ghosts, the fear of labels sticking like mud. Then the betrayal doubled down, not from family but the machine we chased. Mid-camp, during an intra-squad scrimmage, Har took a hit vicious, helmet to ribs, the crack audible over the whistles. He crumpled, gasping, medic swarming. I shoved through, heart and throat, dropping to his side. Breathe, Har. I've got you. His eyes met mine, pain-glazed but trusting, as they carted him off. Fractured rib, they said later. Out for the season. Agent called it a wash. No team's risking a sidelined fullback, son. Especially one with complications. Complications. The words slithered, laced with the photo from Harlan. The story that painted us as more than brothers. Har overheard the call in the hospital hall, face crumpling like wet paper. It's me, isn't it? The gay thing. They see it and poof, dream dead. I raged at the doc, at the suits, but truth burned. Football's brotherhood had limits, glass ceilings for guys like us. Back in the room, tubes snaking from his arm, he pulled me close. Don't blame them. Blame the game. But us? We're not done. Discharge brought us to a sublet in Lodo, red brick lofts overlooking the Platte. Har healed slow, PT sessions in parks where joggers blurred past. His laugh forced as he shadowboxed pain. I commuted to tryouts, nailing drills but haunted. Every snap a reminder of what we'd lost. Calls from home trickled. Mom checking in, her voice warmer. Jake sending game clips, his throws mirroring mine. Dad even grunted approval after a highlight reel. Not bad, kid. Progress inch by inch. The humanistic turn came unbidden. In a brewpub haze one autumn eve. Har, stir-crazy, dragged me to an open mic. Poets and pickers under strung lights. Air thick with IPA and vulnerability. He signed up on a whim, grabbing the mic with that quarterback poise. This one's for the erasures, he said, voice steady. Launching into a raw verse about fields and forbidden touches, brothers in arms and the cost of coming clean. The crowd hushed, then erupted, claps thundering like stadium roars. A woman in the front row, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, approached after. That was you too in the Harlan story. My son's gay. Struggling. Mind if I share this? Word spread. Not viral, but viral enough, clips hitting local news, podcasts picking up the thread. Suddenly, endorsements trickled. A sports drink for authentic athletes. A foundation for LGBTQ plus youth in sports. No NFL for Har, but a coaching gig at a Denver charter school, molding kids with his fire. Me? I signed with the Alouettes. Montreal's chill winds a far cry from Iowa's bite. But Har followed. Remote work in player development bridging the miles. Winter brought us back to Harlan for Jake State finals. The stadium swelled, lights blazing against snow-dusted stands. Dad coached from the sidelines, Mom in the bleachers with a thermos of cocoa. We sat anonymous at first, then Sarah spotted us, waving frantic.
Finn.
Har. Hugs all around. Jake's pregame fist bump solid. Oh you man. The game was epic. Jake threading needles through defenses, Hawks up by a field goal in the fourth. Then the blitz. Defender barreling, no block. Instinct kicked in. Jake dodged, spun, launched. A 60-yard bomb, perfect spiral arcing like fate. Touchdown. The roar shook the earth. On the field, Jake spiked the ball, pointing skyward, then to us in the crowd. Cameras caught it, broadcast nationwide. Dad's face on the jumbotron. Pride, unfiltered, no shadows. Post-game, in the locker room haze, He pulled me aside, Har hovering respectful. Saw the clip. Your words, his heart. A pause. Heavy.
I'm sorry, Finn.
For the knife. For the door. Not flowery, but real Midwest concrete, cracking open. We drove east that night, Har's hand in mine over the console. Radio crooning Dylan. The times they are a-changin'. Betrayal's echo faded, replaced by the road's hum. The weight of scholarships given and received. Family? It was Jake's grin in victory lights, Mom's tentative texts, Dad's gruff nods. And love, Har's steady gaze. Our cabin dreams now sketched on napkins, dogs named after plays. Humanistic, yeah, not erasure but etching. Not perfect but possible. In America's vast heart, where fields meet horizons, we'd carved our win. Spring thawed the Rockies into verdant sprawl, cherry blossoms dusting Denver streets like fleeting confetti. Har's coaching whistle echoed across playground fields, his charges. A ragtag crew of middle schoolers with dreams bigger than their sneakers, hanging on his every drill. Footwork first, heart second. He'd bark, then soften with grins, demoing stiff arms with exaggerated flair. I'd watch from the bleachers after flights home, Montreal's bilingual buzz a world away, my Alouettes jersey slung over the rail. You're a natural. I'd tease post-practice, stealing a kiss in the parking lot shadows, his laugh rumbling against my lips. Says the hotshot QB. How's the frozen tundra? Our rhythm was a dance. Me jetting for games up north, him grounding us in the mile-high, video calls bridging the gaps with pillow talk and play breakdowns. But the heartland tugged, persistent as prairie wind. Jake's scholarship check cleared. Harlan High banners now touting the Harlan Fund in my honor. Letters poured in. Kids from podunk towns, thanking for the hope, sharing stories of closets and cleats. One stood out. A scrawled note from a boy in Omaha. Your story made me tell Dad, he cried, but hugged me after. I framed it by our mantel, Har's arm around me as we read it aloud, voices thick. You're changing the game, Finn. Off the field. Yet conflict simmered, subtle as a slow fuse. My agent pitched bigger. NFL Europe tryouts. A bridge to the league's promised land. Your prime, kid, age, stats, the narrative. The narrative. That photo, the story, now a double-edged sword, pioneering for some poison for scouts with conservative benches. Har heard the offer over dinner at our favorite taqueria, tacos steaming between us. Go for it, he said. Too quick, eyes on his plate. Your shot. But later, in bed with the city lights filtering through blinds, he confessed, scared though. What if it's the break that breaks us? Distance, pressure. I've seen it chew up straits, let alone us. I held him tighter, tracing the line of his jaw. Then we fight it, like always. But doubt crept, a whisper in the quiet. Home calls amplified it. Mom's updates laced with worry. Towns talking, Finn, the paper story. Some say it's a scandal. Dad gruffer. Jake's fine. Focus on your plays. Subtext clear. Don't rock the boat. Betrayal revisited. Not overt but insidious. The family's fragile thaw threatening to refreeze under gossip's chill. Climax crested in July, heat wave baking the front range. I flew in for Har's birthday 30. Milestone marked with a rooftop barbecue. His kids' team crashing with water balloons and whoops. Laughter flowed easy. Beers sweating in coolers. Until my phone buzzed. Agent, urgent. Europe's greenlit. Leave next week. But there's buzz. A team owner's son, vocal on family values. Might nix it if the personal life leaks louder. Heart sank. The leak? Our life unapologetic. Har caught my face, pulling me aside amid the grill smoke. Tell me. I did, words tumbling. The offer, the risk, the erasure waiting in boardrooms. He paced, coals glowing behind him like embers of anger. So we hide? Again? After Harlan? After everything? His voice cracked, betrayal raw. Not mine, but the system's, the same machine that sidelined him. I won't be the reason you stall, Finn. But damn if it doesn't feel like starting over. We argued then, First real fracture, him pushing me to chase, me clinging to us over glory. Football's not forever. I shot back. You are. Thunderheads built, mirroring the storm. Rain scattering the party as we retreated inside, soaked and spent. Reconciliation came in the deluge, balcony doors ajar, water sheeting the glass. He pulled me close, apologies murmured into damp hair.
I'm proud, scared idiot.
But go. Be the guy who throws the long ball, for both of us. Tears mixed with rain on his cheeks. And come back. Always. We made love then, slow and fervent, reaffirming in the thunder's roll. Not bodies, but souls, the romantic core that had carried us from Iowa fields to these heights. Dawn broke clear, decision made, Europe, but with calls daily, visits mapped like plays. The send-off was bittersweet. Har at the gate. His kiss lingering under fluorescent hum. Score one for the queers, he whispered, grin fierce. Montreal welcomed with poutine and polite French. The ALS thriving under my arm. Wins piled. Upsets against Toronto. Bombs to receivers who slapped my back with frere camaraderie. But loneliness gnawed. Har's face on screens the lifeline. Then, mid-season, the call flipped everything. Jake, breathless.
Finn.
Dad's retiring. Heart scare at practice. Wants you home. For good. I flew that night, Europe dreams deferred. Landing in Des Moines fog. The ranch waited, porch light steady. Mom hugged fierce. Dad in his recliner, thinner, eyes softer. Fool move, pushing you out. He rasped, hand extended. I took it, grip firm. Forgiveness not spoken, but forged. Jake grinned from the kitchen, crutches gone, his own scouts circling. Your fun saved me, bro. Now coach with Dad? Show him how it's done. Har arrived next dawn. Truck rumbling up the drive. His presence the anchor. We rebuilt slow. Me assistant coaching Hawks, Har guesting drills, our life woven into the town's fabric. No headlines, just quiet wins. Kids coming out in huddles, parents nodding at potlucks. Romance deepened in the mundane. Drives to Ames games, hands linked over stick shifts. Anniversaries under that old oak, bourbon toasts to erasures overcome. The humanistic close unfolded at Jake's wedding, 2 years on. A backyard affair under strung lights, bride radiant, Harlan buzzing with kin. Dad's toast stumbled emotional. Family's blood and choice. We almost lost one. Don't. Eyes met mine. Har's hand warm in mine under the table. Jake pulled us aside later, confiding, I'm bye, guys. Thanks for the roadmap. Pride swelled, tears pricking. As fireworks burst over the fields, Har leaned in. This is the win, Finn. Not scholarships or stats. Here. I kissed him under the sparks, world blurring to our rhythm. Betrayed once, we'd betrayed nothing. Built empires from ashes. Love the cornerstone. In America's heart, where grudges fade to grace, we stood unbroken. The end? Not tragic, not fairy tale perfect. Just human. Messy, mended, magnificently ours.